There's a saying that pops up a lot around Christmas time, and you've heard it before. It is better to give than receive. Do you find that true for you? This year, my wife and I decided to make Christmas wish lists to give to each other. And just the other day, she said to me, I wish I could just take back my list that I gave you so I could just bless you with all the gifts. I guess in that moment, she found that phrase to be true for her. It is better to give than receive. Why? Well, because as sons and daughters of the King, we model our Father's heart. Today is day 6 of our Advent devotions, and our theme for today is the heart of a servant. And there's no greater example of a servant's heart than that of our Savior Jesus. Let's read together today's passage from Isaiah 53. It says this, "Who has believed what he has heard from us? And to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all." One of the things that this passage shows us is that it is impossible to separate who Jesus is from what Jesus has done. The Son was sent by the Father on a heavenly rescue mission, and Jesus, being obedient to his Father, displayed the ultimate act of servanthood by giving his life for ours on the cross. You see, the world had a problem. Sin had separated us from God. Here's Romans 5:12. "Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned." The problem with sin is that if left unaccounted for, it would be a breach of the Father's justice. But if we were left to deal with the Father's justice on our own, it would be a breach of the Son's heart. A little further down in that passage, it says, in verse 18, it says, "Therefore, as one trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one act of righteousness leads to justification and life for all men. For as by one man's disobedience the many were made sinners, so by one man's obedience the many will be made righteous." Jesus loved us so much that he chose the cross. He came to the cliff of the cross and saw that death was opening its jaws. He saw the righteous, divine wrath of the Father, and he didn't change his mind. We get a glimpse of the heart of Christ in John 13:1, where it says, "Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end." As we remember the anticipation of joy that comes from the arrival of our Savior Jesus this Christmas season, let us remember and be comforted by the fact that he came to serve.
With each one of these devotions, we're going to provide for you devotional thoughts and questions for you to do individually, as well as group discussions, so that you can do those with your family, or with a small group, or with your spouse, or a friend. And then after that, there will be some family ideas that you can do for family devotions each day as we experience Advent together.